If you buy zero zero 07 First Light, you're an idiot. It's unbelievable how down bad IO Interactive has truly became 6 years for this. And garbage low grade, slow clunky rip-off of Hitman. Like this is without a doubt the final boss of shitty stealth games. For this to be the most anticipated game of May really tells me how truly dead gaming is. It has truly gone down the gutter. We have idiots like you around who don't think for themselves. You parade your bad taste like a badge of honor, you consume slop, you disappoint your parents, you people are gullible, you all see one trailer of this game and your natural baboon instincts go.
Oh my god, this is awesome. Hype guys, game of the year. Am I right, fellow gamers, poggers?
It is downright insanity, doing the same buffoonery, over and over again without zero purpose, because we all know how this hype train will really go. Game gets released, honeymoon phase starts, 1 month later, game gets forgotten, rinse and repeat. I've seen the same story over and over again for years. I originally wasn't even interested to make this review because the majority of my broadcast subscribers being freeloading cheapskates. The donations aren't going as smoothly nowadays compared to a week ago. I demand more than what I'm getting out from these high-quality, highly edited videos. They don't just exist out of thin air. I'll warn you if this continues. Members only will be enforced so that only my real supporters can appreciate my godlike videos on their own. The only reason I even bother making this is to maybe get the message inside the thick skulls of you casual fake gamer tourists, because this game in particular is very problematic. 007 First Light will never surpass GoldenEye. Even though that game was absolute trash, fact not an opinion. Who are you 007 fanboys and fake gamers even trying to fool here? Nobody is gonna talk about no 007 First Light in 10 years. Why? Simply because the game sucks harder than your mom does on my schlong, and believe me, that's really telling something. I mean, how many of these trash-ass James Bond games need to be made? The only good ones that shouldn't exist but somehow do are 007. Legends and Live and Let Die, the computer game on the Commodore C64. That's peak James Bond media of we're talking James Bond games, and no basement dweller like you can convince me otherwise. IO Interactive sucks at everything. The Hitman games haven't been good since the fucking Stone Age. Whoever choose them to make a James Bond game has to be smoking crack. I can guarantee you, the game is gonna run like crap. Sub 40 FPS on a RTX 5090 on medium settings. That should be already established. The 13-minute gameplay shown me more frame drops than mines I ever could. But that video's not my only source of information. IO Interactive themselves have sent me an early review unit with an email that contained a Steam key. Yeah, I knew the game was going to be garbage. But you see, I was curious to see how bad it truly is. My world-class journalist instincts kicked in this case. Well, you know what they say, curiosity killed the cat. I beat the game, watched the credits, I got all achievements, I've basically seen everything this game has to offer. And now I feel like my IQ dropped by at least 10%, and that's not only because of the absurd amount of hand-holding. The graphics are terrible. It looks like a PS2 game that came out 20 years too late. The gameplay, oh my god, it made me regret every holding and controller. Having gameplay this bad should be a crime. Funny enough, I did saw it coming simply because of IO Interactive, the king of bottling. They're incapable of making good stealth games, biggest example being the Hitman franchise, because Hitman sucks and because Hitman is a poorly made rip-off of Metal Gear Solid. Watch a Let's Play and see for yourself. If you somehow think that's good gameplay, you're on a desperate need to see. And psychiatrists, the voice acting sucks. It's like they hired voice actors from Newgrounds. They sound like they belong on the Awesome Series parody from Ego Raptor. They sound so stupid. The story is cringe and lame. The characters, like really an James Bond game without Daniel Craig in it, because he's not interested. So they made a fictional version in the hopes players can call their own and grow with the character. If the plans of a trilogy happens, like get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to idolize a skinny 26-year-old cuck voiced by Patrick Gibson. aka Dexter Morgan from Dexter Original Sin. So basically it's an shitty fanfiction of the James Bond movies, an origin story of James Bond as an inexperienced MI6 agent embarking on a mission to earn his license to kill. Boring, but then again it's a James Bond game, so that's to be expected. And boring convoluted mess just like the movies Casino Royale and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Would you believe there are losers dumb enough to buy a $300 collector's edition? Let that sink through your head. $300 for a statue of a golden gun made out of fake gold. These are the types of people we're dealing with here. James Bond fanboys are deranged and have been for decades, all middle-aged man-children or elderly boomers that refuse to acknowledge that Mission Impossible has always been the better spy franchise. Tom Cruise is way more likable than Daniel Craig, but okay, since we're talking games, well, to no one's surprise, the Mission Impossible games are way better. Mission Impossible Operation Surma, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Golden. I wishes it could be that good. Guys, don't be fooled for the millionth time. 007 First Light is a obvious consumer trap that'll make you broke. Don't fail for the hype. Most comments from the IO Interactive channel are botted, easily detectable if you have any sort of pattern recognition skills. Well, they better buy more, because once this godly review releases, no amount of shilling is save them from the wrath of truth. And the truth is simple, folks. 007 First Light sucks. I rate this a -0070 out of 10. Do not buy. Unless you want to be grounded for 293,883,839,242 million years.